Hey everyone, it's Stefan here from the Facebook Cube here at Move the Dial Summit, and I am here with the CEO and founder of Actua. So nice to have you.
It's lovely to be here.
Wonderful. So we're here to talk about diversity and inclusion, and Actua being in the charity space. I'm curious, charities have a strong role to play. I'm really curious what your thoughts are on how we can make the D&I world a little more sustainable and not just once and done.
So Actua, just let me give you a little snapshot. So we're as you said, a charity that works across the country. We have been on the ground in 500 communities in every province and territory for the past 25 years. And our mandate is to engage youth from all backgrounds, abilities, areas of the country, in experiences that build their confidence and skills in science and technology.
Yeah.
So we are working on the very earliest stages of that diversity and inclusion pipeline. So your question about sustainability is absolutely essential. And that was something that when we started doing programming in this space literally 20 years ago, knew right from the beginning that this cannot be flash in the pan. We're going to engage girls and everybody's going to love it and there's going to be some great media and then we're going to move on. Like, we knew we were in it for the long game, and we knew that the problems had taken a lot of time to develop and would take a lot of time to then solve. So that issue of sustainability is, we are hyper aware of that. And I would say it's one of our main, one of the core values that we hold as a company is we are not going into these communities and establishing relationships and then saying, okay, our job here is done. I will happily leave when our job is done. I say all the time, we exist to put ourselves out of business. So when there is wonderful, diverse, inclusive workspaces and when girls and women are equally represented in science and technology, our job is done. Right.
So the sustainability conversation in business, though, can often be about pipeline. It's, we can't hire anyone, we can't find anyone, but let's park that for a sec. And just, there's a lot more to that conversation, and you partner with a lot of businesses.
We do.
What are some of the challenges or obstacles that you are seeing in the way towards this fantastic world that you don't have a job in?
So I will say that the companies that we see, and we get to work with some of the most incredibly inclusive chasing, I will say, and wonderfully generous companies in the world. And what I will say is that companies that get this right are the companies that not only invest, say, their corporate social responsibility dollars, if you want to call it that, in organizations like Actua, which is a great thing to do and is having a big impact. We're making sure that workforce of the future is coming along, but they also need to be reflective inside their own company culture of this. And for me, the single biggest, most important thing is at the very top. How many women are on your board? How are those, how diverse is your board representation? Is it representative of the stakeholders that you serve? And to me, that is the single biggest change that we need to see in the corporate sector to drive the change rate all the way to the kindergarten classrooms that we work in with young girls. So we need to see it at the top, that change, and that's a lot of companies are headed that way and focused on that. And I just today heard some amazing stories, even from men who said, you know what, this board would not put more women on it, so I'm leaving. So it's that kind of that, to me, I looked at that and I thought, oh my, that is a giant step. It's unfortunate that it has, not unfortunate, but it does, it's more powerful coming from a man who actually stands up and says, I'm out of here if you can't get this right. But that's the kind of activity that we need to see. But Actua has worked with wonderful companies like GE and a lot of the companies that are sponsoring here. TD has just invested in the programming that we're doing with girls across the country, which is so great then to see them continue with that work through something like Move the Dial. But it's recognizing that this is not something they can invest in us for 1 year and then say, okay, well, we did girls in STEM, we're good.
Did it.
But seeing that this is it's not even that long of a game. We're talking about women and girls that are going to enter the workforce within the decade, right? So this is not long time. Before we know it, these are women who are going to be making decisions about what they're doing in the future and either removing themselves from the tech space or not.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time
pleasure.
today.
Yeah.
This is not the only content we've got, folks. There is the live stream of the whole summit, every talk, every panel, and we've got more interviews here as well with other brilliant entrepreneurs, founders, and executives. And thank you again so much for your time.
My pleasure.